Okay, at the last minute, apparently, we were getting ready for business today and what to discuss with the public when we got a call and saying, would you like to call in to our show tonight? And we said, sure, why not? And one more time, we can discuss more things. A lot of things are still going on. So we did, and it was Howard. And Howard had another guest there. And we know that a friend of ours...
True Talk News.
Right.
And I don't know if he probably didn't plan on what happened.
No, it's hard to plan on what happened. I don't know what he thought there could be a connection between what this woman had to say and what we have to say, because honestly, in spite of what she claimed, she seemed to be pretty much down the mainstream movement of medical and other national issues. So, but apparently this woman has had a problem with a friend of ours and a former friend of hers. And we are trying not to name the guilty party, but we were on the same show, both guests and both talking. And, you know, there are certain rules that you need to follow. At least that's how I view things. There are certain rules that
No, Dr. Carpenter, you are mistaken. I know what I'm talking about, and you are just wrong. Do you understand?
Right. Yeah. My rule is that being on a talk show, either you're calling in as a guest or as a second caller or you're the whole show, there are certain rules that you need to follow. And people disagree because people have different point of views, whether their point of view are backed by facts or not. Some people think they are because they're backed by fact because I know this and because I said so. And other people, like me, being a scientist, I prefer to have statistics and actual fact, not I say so. But in either way, okay, no matter where your stand is, you have to allow a certain level of polite give to people that are talking also. You cannot jump on them and accuse them of being wrong. That is not a proper, first of all, you can say you might be mistaken on this subject, you might have a different view, whatever, but not jump, oh, you're wrong. You can't do that. Those are the rule of politeness, of being in a civilized
I think mistaken was how it began. I think that's originally what got said was, no, you're mistaken.
No, she said you're wrong. But anyway, that's beside the point. The problem is that I'm not wrong at all on the subject of nursing homes. So that was really the thing that started it all. And I said, I have had so many patients. What happened to them? What happened to relatives of theirs? Even not patients, just acquaintances. The story always comes back the same on what happens in nursing home. And even doctors tell you, well, a nursing home is the end-of-life care. End of life. They take care of making you comfortable while they kill you. Accelerate the fact that you're going to die. But anyway, so a nursing home, in a lot of cases, and a lot of the public will know that, they give medication to the people there without informing the family, without having any permission from the family or from the elderly person in their care. They do not have to report. They don't have to inform them. In a majority, depends on the state rules, but in a majority of cases, they don't. So they could be given all sorts of drugs, and they are. And sometimes they're given drugs that are being tested. They're used, without them knowing, they're used as guinea pigs. And that is a fact. You cannot deny that that's what's happening. If you're denying it, you just don't. But anyway, so for this reason, we are having, again, as guest here, Barbara Hartwell. Hi, Barbara. And
good afternoon, Dr. Carpenter and Randy.
And because you were a friend of this person and you have had some disheartening experiences with her, we're bringing you back for you to discuss the case. I have a different complaint against her, not having known her at all till the day I was on the show, but you have known her for a long time, so you can talk about how you were betrayed. So,
and you know, one other thing that we didn't clarify though is that this thing that we're talking about before, it was a show where this person was on Howard Neiman's radio show talking about conservatorships, which is kind of a new term to me, but apparently well, to me it is. I had never heard.
Well, they say it can be used conservatorship or guardianship. Okay, it's just usually guardianship refers to minors and conservatorship refers to adults. Okay, that's the difference.
Okay,
that's all it is. Okay, let's go. All right, Barbara, and this person, of course, Barbara will discuss it. She has been trying not to say her name. It just talk about the sinner, not the sin of the sinner, not the sinner herself, but things that she's fed up now. Okay, go ahead, Barbara.
Well, Dr. Carpenter, my real problem with this individual arose in connection with Michelle Wolven. Okay, now I had never, of course, heard of Michelle Wolven until I got contacted by you and started coming on your radio show. And I have to preface this by saying that from what I have observed, and of course, having been attacked myself by Michelle Wolven, she has been attacking you for, 3 years at least?
At least.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay, my problem is when I see a person like this, the work that I do is mostly involved with exposing liars, perpetrators of wrongdoing, criminals, and whatever, and especially those that are connected in some way to a government operation. Okay, like the FDA, which of course destroyed your life finally by their raid. But this was a process. This was an operation that had been mounted against you from years back.
Yeah.
So this is what I do, and my concern is the truth more than anything else. The truth.
Easy.
Yeah, we got a break coming up.
All right.
So we're gonna get back to this.
The other side then. Okay.
Okay.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle.
Okay, we are back from the break, the first break, and Barbara was starting to explain what she does before she got into the problem she had, but she was describing what her job is and how she got involved with us. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Carpenter. Let me just repeat that my main concern is the truth. Okay, so when you are the target of an extensive libel and slander campaign and a neutralization campaign, then you know all too well, as I do, what the consequences of that are. People put out false information, and they carpet bomb the internet with this false information.
Absolutely.
And it destroys your reputation, and by extension, every area of your life. Because anybody that reads this nonsense and these lies, libelous falsehoods, is presented with the possibility that they may believe the lies.
Yeah.
And that does destroy the life of the target, because most people don't bother to do their own research. You know, they see something in print. It's just like the mainstream media. There's no difference. They see something in print on the internet. Oh, I read on the internet that Dr. Carpenter is a criminal. or Barbara Hartwell is a CIA agent or whatever, CIA disinfo agent. And then it starts a toxic grapevine that's passed. It's like a telephone, you know, that old game, the telephone.
Right.
They pass.
Something like that, it's not easy to fact check. That's the other part that makes it, you know.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. But anyone, I would say that anyone who has any discernment whatsoever would look deeper. I would hope so anyway. Unfortunately, many people don't look deeper. So getting back to this Michelle Wolven, I mean, first of all, she's a proven liar. I have reports on my website where I have exposed her through my own research that she had lied to law enforcement officers, falsely accusing people, including law enforcement officers and others, of assault. And then on the witness stand, she admitted that she had lied. So this is a proven liar, okay? And she's under the employ, in a sense of speaking, of these people who have targeted you, Dr. Carpenter.
Oh, yeah, she's being employed by them. There is no doubt about it.
There's no doubt. For whatever the gain is.
There is no doubt, because the information that she seemed to have, there is no other way she could have gotten it other than having direct detail from the people that were running the lawsuit, from my ex. She could not have gotten it, any of that.
And direct word of mouth from our neighbors.
Yes.
Well, yes. Now, and let's just, before we get into more of this, let's talk about some of the damage that has been done. I mean, this woman, Michelle Wolven, she contacted your neighbors, Randy, and this is before Dr. Carpenter was actually living there, okay?
Right.
She contacted your neighbors who assaulted you, basically, with, even if it was a verbal assault, invaded your privacy, and
they're the ones behind the graffiti and the broken car window and the
exactly
and
vandalism, vandalism, invasions of privacy, and assaults. Okay, now this is a direct result of telephone calls from one Michelle Wolven,
Dallas, Georgia,
the stalker. Okay, so we have to connect this individual, the perpetrator, Michelle Wolven, with direct results of extreme damages to you, not only to your reputation, but to your property, and invading your privacy, and actually just, compromising your security and your safety in the neighborhood where you live.
Well, right. It's basically poisoning the neighborhood, and if you listen to any, truth media, conspiracy media, whatever you want to call it, what you're hearing a lot nowadays is that small communities have to pull together and make, use the microcosm of the community as far as, of the neighborhood, as far as your community, and neighbors help other neighbors, because if the system falls, that's what we're going to have to rely on, is our own, community, the sense of community. And they have basically poisoned any chance of that.
Well, exactly. See, in theory, I can tell you that in theory, that's a good idea. Okay, to get to know your neighbors, and hopefully that you can depend on the neighbors if something goes wrong or if you need help. In theory, but
that's only theory.
This is only theory, because in the COINTELPRO world of tactics, they will make sure to poison the well, poison, isolate you and alienate you from anybody that surrounds you, so that you will not only not be able to get assistance should there be some kind of emergency, but that you will be ostracized. That's exactly how they operate. And this is an old tactic. This is nothing new, but I'm just trying to evaluate for the listeners here exactly how extreme the damages have been, and how how Michelle Wolven was instrumental as a sort of leader of the pack of dirty deeds done dirt cheap, not only to discredit you, but to destroy you.
Well, and she also instigated the woman whose case she's used as her soapbox. You know, Michelle Wolven was directly involved in her decision to go back to standard treatment, to get PET scans, and to basically take the advice of oncologists.
That's how she died, and she died. So basically, Michelle Wolven, is the one directly responsible for the death of the person that she called her friend. Okay?
Well, I would agree. Okay? And here's the problem. That if someone like this, Michelle Wolven, has been clearly identified, and she certainly was clearly identified by me, especially after she started attacking me. She even wrote a letter to the station manager of Orion, calling me all kinds of names and making all kinds of false statements. And she also started to go around. This is another tactic. They will contact any known associates of a person who they consider a threat. And I was obviously considered a threat because I defended you and stood up for you, and I exposed Michelle Wolven. Well, you know what? This is what I do. I'm a counterintelligence expert. I was involved in psychological operations for 25 years in CIA. And since I've gotten out, which is 18 years now, my main function and the focus I have is identifying these kind of perpetrators who are harming good people, who are persecuting good people, that the government has targeted for neutralization. So I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I am talking about. And I did expose this woman, Michelle Wolven. Well, she went around and she contacted any known associates of mine. Another tactic. Now, of course, she couldn't get to me directly because I don't have a public email address. And there's a very good reason why I don't.
Free speech guaranteed. You're listening to the Orion Talk Radio Network.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy.
No, we'll talk about it later. But, you know, the medical works on the fear factor, you know? This whole thing is about,
Fear factor.
Mm-hmm.
You can trust me. I can help you. You can trust me.
Okay, we're
Fear
back.
Factor. That was our fear factor. By the way, I want to mention this again because chat room's really booming right now. Anybody listening on Shoutcast or on Orion Talk Radio, we do have a chat board. It's on medicalconspiracy.com, and go to the listen page. Is there anybody out there?
Is there anybody out there?
Yeah, are there any aliens out there? Man, I wish they were so I could go home.
It's supposed to be creepy sounding.
It's not really. It sounds to me like, alien. Are you there?
I'm here.
Your voice went down for some reason.
It did? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better. Before it was really low. Okay, so...
I can hardly hear you.
Really?
Yeah, your voice is far lower than it should be, for me anyway, on my end.
Well, for me, it's lower than it was before, but I guess he did something when he played the music, and now we're not back to where we were. But anyway, when we stopped before the break, actually, we were in the middle of the break, so I have no idea what was heard in what Barbara was saying. So she might repeat some of it just in case you didn't hear. So go ahead.
Okay, Dr. Carpenter. What I was trying to establish And I have no idea exactly when I was cut off because I didn't hear the break.
Yeah, I didn't either, so I don't know.
But what I was trying to establish is that this Michelle Wolven, I consider her a criminal. She's certainly a stalker, and she's been responsible for tremendous damage, not only to your good name, but to your very life.
Well, that was what was planned. That's what they all planned.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's what she's what I would call a Fed snitch. Okay? A Fed snitch. And I've had many of those people, unfortunately, to target me over the years. And they fabricate. They fabricate any story. Some of the falsehoods are fed to them by the people up top who are targeting you. But they spare no effort. They leave no stone unturned.
Because that's what they're paid for.
That's what they're paid in one way or another. You see,
in that case, it's money.
Yeah, in this case it could be money, but one way or another, this is what they do. Okay, so anyway, I think where I probably left off is that she was Michelle Wolven, the stalker, was contacting known associates of mine. Like I said, I don't have a public email address or anything like that. So anybody can go on the internet, look up my name. And aside from the unfortunate, libelous falsehoods and libel campaign in general, they will also find names of individuals who are known to be connected with me. They're either professional colleagues or friends, along those lines. So Michelle Wolven went on a rampage of contacting any and every known associate of mine that she could locate. All right? And this is what she did. Now, first I should state that if I have friends or colleagues, most of my professional colleagues are my friends because I need to be able to trust people, in order to work with them. I wouldn't feel comfortable otherwise. And these people are all very well aware that, you do not discuss me. You just do not with anyone. You just don't do that. So if somebody gets a call from a stalker, a known stalker, who in the nature of the phone call says she wants to discuss Barbara Hartwell and Dr. Carpenter. Well, what do you do then? What would a person do who received that kind of a message? They would ignore it. They would disregard it. They would tell me that they received such a message and leave it to me, okay? Well, one individual that we were referring to here did not do that. She actually called Michelle Wolven back. And I was very, very upset over that. I felt it was a betrayal of my trust and a violation of my privacy because you don't utter word one to a perpetrator or anyone else. Someone calls you, I want to discuss Barbara Hartwell and Dr. Carpenter. You don't use my name ever. That's my policy. And anyone I can consider a friend knows that. So anyway, let's get to it. The name of the person is Janet Phelan, and she was a good friend of mine for quite a number of years. And I was very disappointed that she had taken it upon herself to do this, to call back Michelle Wolven. So, of course, I tried to resolve the matter. I confronted her about this. And, I basically said, why would you do such a thing? Why would you, call Michelle Wolven? Why would you take it upon yourself to call her back? So I basically got some responses that were, to me, very arrogant. Like, well, I I chose to do this. I chose to call Michelle Walvin, and she was putting in other issues, commingling other issues that had nothing to do with this. This was a very simple matter of a perpetrator contacts you about your friend and colleague, and you should have known better than to even utter my name. Okay? Don't utter my name. So anyway, it could not be resolved. And there were other issues there, but none of the issues were related. You see what I'm saying? In other words,
yeah.
It's like certain types of people evidently think that there's a carte blanche, or everything is a public thing. Well, it's not. This in particular, she should have known better than to do that, because she, in my opinion, by my policy, she was violating my privacy and my personal boundaries. Okay? Because Michelle Walvin is a known perpetrator, stalker, known to have been slandering and libeling Dr. Carpenter, Barbara Hartwell, Randy Simmons, Wendy Simmons, and others. So I have a very serious problem with that.
Yeah, well, people have no conscience. I don't know why they do that. And in her case, I have no idea why she did that. And then she went, of course, on the Howard Nima show, and that was for something else. She's pushing the conservatorship and all of that. But why Howard wanted also me on the show is because he thought they were talking about. Is anybody out there?
I'm here.
Well, Dr. Carpenter, I can tell you this. You see, I put issues where they belong. So I don't have any desire to harm anybody. I'm only expressing the truth about an issue.
We got a break. This time I can hear it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying though. We'll continue after this.
The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
Very interesting voice there saying Dr. Carpenter. I like that. Anyway.
Dr. Carpenter.
Right. Okay. So before the break, I was saying something about the Howard Nima show that we were called in as guest, in addition to the guest of they already had, and Janet Phelan. So when I came in, it's just as part of being a guest, so I stand respectable behavior toward people. I don't agree with what they say. Say my piece, but I don't attack anybody. But anyway, so this we are going to play for you a short segment of the peak of the argument. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had made the invitation and said that we're going to be discussing conservatorships, but we're also going to be discussing the medical mafia.
Medical mafia.
Dr.
That's why I called.
Might want to put in her 2 cents worth and join the conversation. So
Okay.
anyway,
so,
here we go.
There we are.
I'm very concerned that we're seeing some sort of, eugenics program that's rearing up.
Definitely, you would have to see that going on right there. I can tell you right now with the nursing homes themselves and the whole process of when you get sick and there's a certain age that you're at. They definitely bring you down. They put you down. Janet.
And let me tell you, the conservatorship has no authority over it cannot overrule the nursing home. They can decide what they give.
You are mistaken, Dr. Carpenter. Dr. Carpenter, this is something I know quite a bit about, and you're mistaken.
No, I'm not, because
Yes,
I've
you-
had.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with you about this on the air, but the laws about this. I've been researching. Okay.
The law. Right, the law.
Right.
Well, the law works when you follow it.
Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything. No. Again, Dr. Carpenter, let Janet make her statement here. Let me make her point. She has been actually diligently working on this for a long time. This whole issue, and yes, the conservatorships. The conservator acts as the parent of the child, or as the father. As
right, and the reason that the nursing home is giving, and this is protocol in Melody Scott cases, is that the conservator has ordered that he not have visitors and not receive phone calls. So, given that he is under conservatorship and Melody Scott has the legal authority, the nursing home is basically bowing to her authority and breaking both federal and California law, which guarantee him those rights.
Right.
So we're seeing where the conservators have, enormous power, not only over the individual, but also, over the supposed, legal institutions that should be safeguarding some of his rights.
Okay. She just changed the subject. The subject was that the man, and it could have very well been that his conservator was not permitting phone calls and communication. That is not the issue of why the person was losing it, was out, was not coherent. And the issue that I was discussing in the nursing home, because they don't want to be bothered, because the nursing home is an end-of-life care, and you have to die, and if you don't die fast enough, they'll kill you with morphine. So they give you medication to keep you quiet and eventually kill you. That is something that a conservator will never know. It's not requested. His opinion or her opinion is not requested. They can do it like the parent or like the children, whoever speaks for the person in the nursing home.
No,
they do not.
You are mistaken.
Right.
Howard, help me.
Right. It's like saying she was hearing things she didn't want to hear, and it was contradicting what she was saying, so she started screaming, "Mommy, help!" Okay? That's not how you handle an argument. Her mommy wasn't there, so she, Howard, help, But that means you don't really know your facts. And my facts are based on hundreds of people I talked to. Whether they were patients, as I said before, whether they were people that knew other people, or whether they were acquaintances that talked about their parents being in nursing home. It's all come back to the same. They're giving drugs to keep them quiet, non-belligerent, just not creating any problem. And you will never know what drugs they're giving them. Not to mention the fact
she's been studying the conservatorships.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do.
And you've got the knowledge of the nursing homes and how they.
And she didn't want to hear it, and she said it's the law that the nursing home has to. No, it's not the law, and the law is a farce anyway. We already discussed that. The law is a farce. Nobody follows the law. Lawyers do not follow the law. Judges do not follow the law. I can say that quite. From my personal experience, I can be quite sure of that, because it was my personal experience. The judge violated the 14th Amendment. The judge violated the Code of Civil Procedure. So where is the law? There is no law in this country. They do what they want, and even the nursing home. But the nursing home is a different situation. It's like the hospital. They are allowed to do whatever they deem necessary. The conservator has no power. Or like a guardian for a child. It has no power over that. Okay? Even the patient, the person, him or herself, they can have no power over that. They can say, no, I don't want morphine. And they say, you need it. We decided you need it. We'll give it to you. So it's nonsense, but she did not want to hear that, because I guess it didn't go well with her, what she was saying.
And talking about the power of the law, look at the judge. I can't think of what state it was, but we talked about it a year and a half ago or so. The judge in a certain state that has private prisons, the judge was a major investor in this private prison system, and he was maximizing the inmate flow into that
right.
prison.
And the revenue of the places, so they will be a full potential, fully full.
So it's nothing new. I mean,
no, we all know that they are crooks and they do what they want, and the law has become a farce. But she even said that the law, everybody's violating the law, and there are some great, honest lawyers out there that are upset about what's happening. And to me, that great, honest, and lawyer is an oxymoron. The two words cannot be used together because they're total opposite. Like Satan is a saint. Okay.
There's some great, honest, hardworking, conscientious oncologists that are working with the Komen Foundation to find a cure, a real cure.
Oh, yeah.
And around this corner is this bridge, and it can be yours for a small price.
Right. If not, we can sell you the Brooklyn Bridge or some great swampland in Florida. Okay? And talking about, that's another thing, Barbara, then I'll get back with you, but there is another thing I wanted to point out. You know, this is the end of September. We are dangerously getting close to October, and you know what October is, a Komen Foundation begging process. Oh, give, because we are so great and we are doing so much for breast cancer. So give. We need money. And
they are doing a lot for breast cancer. To keep it going.
Yeah.
Spread it.
Spread it. Make sure that everybody gets it. Okay? And then just one day this week, a couple of days ago this week, my daughter was listening to the TV early in the morning, and there was Fox News. They were interviewing this oncologist. And, of course, what he was talking about, breast cancer. The example of Christina Applegate. Christina Applegate did not have cancer. She had fear of cancer. She was terrified because her mother had cancer, so she figured it's in her family. So what did she do? She agreed to preventive double mastectomy, and she agreed to preventive chemo. Preventive chemo? Preventing what? From your being healthy? And preventive double mastectomy? Are we crazy here? But that's what they're saying. Our solution to breast cancer is eliminate the breast before you even have any problem and give you chemo in case there is there are some cancer cells there. So we want to make sure that you actually get cancer because, you know, chemo causes cancer. And this is coming out finally. After 12 years of me saying that, it's finally starting to come out. After they have stomped on me, discredit everything I say, and doing like Janet Phelan saying, you're mistaken. No, that's wrong. That's intended to be a blanket statement that I'm wrong about everything. No, it's not happening. That's not the case. And I know that she seemed to represent the system because before we even got into more detail of the conservatorship, she was attacking the fact that some states are starting to allow euthanasia and allowing doctors like Dr. Kevorkian to help people commit suicide when they don't want to live anymore. Okay? And she said that was wrong. Because people might think they don't want to live, but they probably want to, and we can help them live. And to me, that, oops, we got at the end of the hour.
The top.
Yeah. We'll be back after the news. Okay, I guess I'm hearing right. We are back, right? We are back on the air. Are we?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
TalkRadio.com, Mike Road 1650, Tonawanda, New York.
Yeah, this is the second hour. And during the first hour, we were talking about this week, oops, and the things that happened.
Oops, there it is.
Yeah. And Barbara was presenting, but one of the things that were discussed during the interview with Howard Nima and Janet Phelan was there. She started attacking doctors, as I said before, during the end of the first hour. She started attacking doctors that help people in their lives because they want to. They are tired, they are sick, they don't want to face chemo, whatever. And some states are actually, after throwing Dr. Kevorkian in jail, And I said that was, to me, was outrageous. They are not throwing oncologists in jail that are killing people that want to live, but Dr. Kevorkian had somebody help people die in a humane manner because they didn't want to live anymore. Well, that is bad, okay? Because people must suffer. People must be miserable. That's the whole point. People that go to an oncologist have cancer, they are afraid, they want to live, and the oncologist said, oh yeah, this is really successful. We can have the treatment fit just for you. It's personalized treatment. We can be successful. And then, of course, oops, well, sorry, your cancer was really bad and we couldn't fix it. So there, bye. Have a nice end of life or whatever. You know, we're going to make you comfortable though. And then attack the people that are trying to help put an end to a miserable life that people don't want anymore. No, you have to live. We can help you. You think you don't want to live, but actually you do because we know. And we are going to give you drugs and we're going to keep you alive. You're going to be miserable, but you're alive. And so, you see, we're helping you stay alive. I mean, because the bottom line is, make sure you're miserable. Because people that are unhappy, miserable, they have so many things to worry about. Those are people that do nothing. You can control. You have already controlled them by making them miserable, so they cannot revolt against everything that is wrong out there. They are not in the condition of doing that.
That's not pro-life. That's not pro-life. That's pro-existence.
No, pro-misery. To serve their purposes, enslave everybody through misery and fear.
Right. All I meant was that's not a life. It's just
no, it's not a life.
Well, let me just say something here, Dr.
Yes.
Carpenter, that I believe always and forever, I will believe in God-given rights. And I believe in the right of the individual, not the right of the state, not of the right of the social workers or the United Nations or the busybodies or the do-gooders. I don't believe those people have no rights to control the rights of the individual. If somebody decides, makes a conscious, purposeful decision that I cannot endure the misery anymore of this life for whatever reason, and they wish to seek out someone who's willing to help them end their life in such a way that they can stop the misery. That is that person's right. So no busybody, nobody has the right to come in and say, oh, no, you really want to live. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have the right to tell somebody what they want or what they should be doing. That's like if somebody says, I'm cold. And the other person says, oh, it's not cold in here. You're not cold. No.
Right, Randy?
They're denying, they're completely denying and disregarding the statement of the individual about their own life. And they have no right to do that. So, you know, look at what happens with animals, for example. I've had a number of animals. I love animals. Okay, and there came a point in the lives of animals that I have had, and they were mostly cats, where I saw that they were absolutely just suffering so badly. They were so ill, they were miserable, they were in pain, and at that point, I had to make the decision that I must take them to the vet because there was no hope. There was no hope for any kind of good life any longer. They may have lived a great life and were loved, but at the end, they would have just suffered and suffered and suffered, and I couldn't bear to watch the suffering. And so I took it upon myself to say, there is no hope, there's no cure, there's nothing else I can do. The kindest thing to do, the most humane thing to do, is to have them euthanized, okay? And that was my decision as the caretaker and friend and the person who loved them. And I believe, you know, animals don't have a voice. They can't say, I want to die. But you can see, anybody could look at an animal that's suffering, that just can't make it any longer. They're old and miserable and sick, okay? So a person, a human being, has the ability to make that choice. They have that ability. And nobody has the right to tell them, no, you should live, you want to live. No, you don't want to live. Let them go.
Well, you know, Barbara, you probably know your scripture a lot better than I do, but there's something isn't it, in the book of Revelations where it talks about men will seek death and it will flee from them?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Well, you know, there are different points of view in religion, and in a majority of cases, the stand is that you do not have the right to be playing God, even with your own life. You have to let God decide. And, you know, there are arguments pro and con that one. And my point of view is not so much the God issue as much as the fact that life is really weird. And things look one way today and tomorrow might be totally different. So when you think there is no hope left, and there might be. So that's another issue. But that is a personal view of things.
It's a personal view, Dr. Carpenter. See, what I believe, what I firmly believe, and I always will, that God has given us free will. So if we make a choice, given that free will, whether we make a choice to do evil, to do good, we'll be held accountable for that.
I hope so, because so far it doesn't look like.
Yeah, no, I know. But I believe in God's greater plan or time that will happen. But my point is, we have free will. So if an individual decides, I no longer want to live, okay, and they seek out help in accomplishing that, that's between them and God. It's nobody's business. It's not a matter of religion or the state or the busybodies and the social workers and all those people. It's not the matter of that. It's a matter of an individual choice, and that leave it to them, between them and God. Don't tell them, we're going to stop you from whatever.
And we are going to arrest the doctor that wants to help you.
Because that's as bad, that is as bad, taking that attitude of a busybody state control. That's as bad as a guardianship or a conservatorship, because they're doing the same thing. They're telling that person, we will decide for you. We will decide. We will hold you prisoner. We will say what will happen and what will not happen.
Well, isn't it the same applied to cancer treatment?
Of course.
If we will tell you what treatment you have to have, and no, you cannot choose, no, you cannot go to an alternative route, you cannot go to laser because we say you can't. See, that's the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing, Dr. Carpenter, because nobody has the right to decide when it violates the individual God-given rights. That's the purpose and the foundation of this country, that we have God-given rights. That's what the Constitution was based on, and that's what the Bill of Rights is based on.
And nobody's following it anymore.
No, they don't. They don't.
You're telling me? Everything that has happened to me was that violation of the Constitution. Okay.
Well, we have the break. Now we know.
Yeah. Now we can hear it.
Good volume.
Trust nobody, don't be no fool. Whatever happened to the golden rule?
Are the worst, because they are communists. That's what they are.
Not necessarily. But anyway, I wanted to tell you that a friend of yours, her name is Melanie Phoenix. She has sent me an email, and I wanted to talk about it. She's really is a nice email.
Is she listening now?
I don't know. She listened last Saturday, but I don't know if she's listening.
Oh, it was the one that I didn't tell her about today's show because I was not well today, and I just okay.
We're back on the air.
You can read that. That's fine.
No, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to say what she said.
Oh, okay.
On OrionTalkRadio.com, and I'm going to say this again. If you're listening on the stream, go to medicalconspiracy.com and click on the listen button. There's a chat board.
I know, but we usually only get people that want to say nasty things on the chat. Yeah, and on that thing, I want to point out something. We do also get nice emails. As hard as it is to believe, we do. And I wanted to say that this lady is, I think, is a friend of somebody that Barbara knows, and her name is Melanie, and she sent me a very nice email. It said what she said, because, and I've heard that story, similar story, many, many times from other patients, like having all their family members and friends killed, not by cancer, but by cancer treatment. And they're welcoming somebody that is trying to do something different. And then she was really encouraging, and she said to me to not give up. And I just wanted to tell her, I don't know what to do, really. I sometimes I think 28 years, almost 30 years of my life dedicated, financially difficult. Only a few years I was making money, but not a lot, just enough to run the operation and keep it afloat. But just a few years.
And pay your lawyers.
Well, that came after. But I'm just saying, between...
But they took...
yeah, well, but that after the enemy realized that we were getting too many good results, and they had to put an end to something, to everything that we were doing. But what I'm saying is been years and years and years, and I don't understand why. There's got to be something that controls and oversee at least human events and make honesty prevail. There's got to be, otherwise what's the point of living?
Well, you know what, Dr. Carpenter? We're the ones who have to stand up for the truth.
Absolutely.
Anybody who knows the truth, I believe anybody who knows the truth has a duty to report the truth. It's like...
But they don't.
But it's like, even from the Bible, I can give a quote from the Bible, and I believe it's from Ephesians 5:11, and it's, do not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but instead expose them. If you know the truth, then I believe, especially if you're a Christian, or if you're just a decent person.
Yeah, it's just honesty.
That we have to keep reporting the truth, whether anyone listens or not, because you never know who will be listening. You never know the changes in the lives of people. I've had many people come and tell me that, thank you for telling the truth, because now I have an ability to go looking for something that I didn't know was going on. We have to keep telling the truth, no matter who stands in the way, no matter how much evil is there. If we don't tell the truth, we have to keep telling the truth.
It's also Ephesians, where they talk about we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers.
Yes,
against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
But the problem is, you are not taking into account the fear. People are afraid. So there are many, many people out there that we have helped, and they are fine. They have not been mutilated. They have a good life. They don't have any problems. They just continue living like nothing ever happened to them, and the big C meant nothing to them because it was taken care of, and they are fine. But they are afraid of talking.
You're the other big C.
Yes. Cowardice.
No, I'm saying Dr. Carpenter is the other big C.
Well, the big C, but cowardice is the other big C. Okay?
Well,
the whole thing is that the truth stands on its own. If enough people continue to tell the truth, there's at least hope and a possibility that somebody will be listening and that they will get it. They will understand that there is the truth. And then they, too, may go out and tell the truth. That's the best we can do.
Yeah, but the problem is, as I said, because the cancer presents a lot of problems and fears, people don't want to speak about the establishment and what they are doing. They're afraid of speaking, because what if I need them for something else someday, and then they're going to turn on me? What they don't realize is if they all started speaking, other people will join in, and then the medical establishment will have no choice but to acknowledge what is being going on, what they are trying to do. But they don't do that.
See? They don't. But we are doing it. Okay? We are only responsible for what we can do. And as long as we continue to tell the truth and expose the truth, then we have done everything in our power to do.
Yeah, but see, that's why they resort to try to basically deprive you of life, drop you out of society. Because if you cannot pay your bill and you cannot live and you are no longer a member of society.
I am intimately familiar with that, Dr. Carpenter.
I know.
And all I can say is that they've done everything in their power, these people, the government rat bastards, as I refer to them, and from many agencies, to destroy my life because I am dedicated to exposing the truth and defending liberty, including the liberty that we all have to choose any kind of medical care that we decide upon, to choose if we wish to live or die and how we wish to live. That is a completely God-given right, and they have no right whatsoever to trample on that.
Especially when you are not affecting anybody else but yourself.
Exactly.
It's just your life. You can decide. And even if something, the poison they give to patient, it work for somebody and they can actually survive in bad condition, but they can actually survive. That does not mean that will work for another person. And if somebody comes in and tell you that is not right for me, I cannot deal with that, you cannot tell them that's the only thing you have. And if there are alternatives, make sure you destroy them.
They don't have the right to issue an edict about your life. They
Absolutely.
don't have the right to overstep their bounds and disregard your privacy, your personal boundaries, and your rights, your God-given rights. They don't have that right.
But that's what they do. And then I had the audacity of treating breast cancer patient and making sure they went home with a dead cancer without need of being mutilated, and even with other cancer without need of being mutilated, and all they had to do is wait that the body would take care of the dead tissue and they were okay. But if they had other treatment before mine, of course they had to put up with the side effect of what they did before. That I could not change. And it's ridiculous to even think that I could put an end to that. But as far as the cancer, I can kill it with no problem. Well, how dare you doing that and telling the patient that they do not need chemoradiation? How dare you say to them, don't go to an oncologist because he'll deny you're doing fine and he will insist on chemoradiation, which is the absolute truth because they've done it to a lot of the patients that I have seen. I do not have the right to say that. I do not have the right to do independent research and come to a solution that university cannot find or don't want to find. I do not have that right because they said so.
You have the right, Dr. Carpenter.
I know, but they say I don't.
Tell you that you don't. Okay? Just like they will tell you that you don't have the right to refuse Obamacare or any other systemic, social engineering program that
Real alternative radio. We are OrionTalkRadio.com.
Yeah, okay. We are back after another break. And whatever happened to the golden rule? All of them. Golden rules. Whatever happened to them, who knows? Now, years ago when I was really thinking of being able to get some investment in the business and be able to go public and accomplish something in a big scale, all I got to hear from investors was, he who has the gold makes the rule. So that's what they call the golden rule. And they said, which is not that at all, and they said, we have the gold, so we decide what should be done. And I said, no, you don't. Because gold means, what is gold? Gold means something of real value. That doesn't necessarily mean it's money. Because if you have money, you can put it in the bank and get the miserable amount of interest that they pay now. Years ago was better, but it's still pretty pathetic. And that's all you can do with it. Or you can invest it in the proper business, the proper circumstances, and make a lot of money. But then it's not your cash that is the gold. It's the business. Is the plan, is the idea, is the inventor dream. That's what is gold. That's what I told them. Gold is this. This was before I thought that, when I thought that we could get somewhere, and the only obstacle was finances. And I guess it still is. It's just they took the money and the way to make money away from us, so we don't have any money and we cannot do anything. It's the same idea.
It's a Ferengi law of acquisition.
Really?
Yeah. Remember Ferengi on Star Trek?
Yeah.
Remember
acquisition, whatever other people own. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's called stealing. Yeah. It's called fraud. It's called robbery. It's called violating people's right to do business. And I think there are laws in the country, supposedly, about antitrust law and violating the people's right to...
The law.
to work in,
the law.
That nobody's following.
They violated.
Yes.
I'm sorry to break in here, but...
No, please.
Violated every right that you had, because under the law, supposedly... in the state of Oklahoma, you certainly had the right to do what you were doing, to run your business, to run your practice. You were violating and have not violated any laws in the state of Oklahoma, okay? These people who came in and busted in and stole, they are thieves.
Well, that's why they had that 28-page affidavit.
Yeah, they had to lie. They had to lie on it and say that we were a store selling adulterated drugs and adulterated equipment and holding it for interstate commerce and violating the law of manufacturing because we didn't have a manufacturing license. That's why they had to lie.
Let's bring it back to the dirty workers, the hirelings, okay? The stalkers and busybodies and liars that came after you, like Michelle Wolvin.
Yeah, and FDA got 3 complaints, and I guarantee you Michelle was in touch with all 3.
It was because...
I'm certain of it.
Because the things they said were the things that they were said on the web. They were said by the snake lawyer in Arkansas. It's the same stories going around. They did not dwell on the fact that I was selling drugs. They did not, even though it was in the affidavit, they did not dwell on the fact of adulterated equipment. They were saying you're selling a treatment that does not work. Well, if you are worried about a treatment, selling it at very high price, a treatment that does not work, then you should go and arrest all the oncologists, because that's what they're peddling. They're peddling treatments that do not work.
Exactly. But my point is that this individual, Michelle Wolvin, I must repeat, she's a proven liar. She went into a court of law after falsely accusing several individuals of bodily assault on her person. And then when she got on the witness stand, she admitted no assault had taken place. So we're dealing with a liar.
Right. This is back to the 90s.
Yeah. And the issue, well, once a liar, always a liar. So
a proven liar.
Yeah. But you know why she admitted that? Because she probably knew that the opposition had evidence. And then she could be found in contempt of court.
Of course.
Lying on the road.
Was Michelle Wolvin ever arrested for perjury? No. No. She's free. She's walking around. She's still up to her dirty tricks.
And she's also peddling garbage. And did they raid her with the garbage she's peddling? She's holding for resale. things that are not FDA approved and they're really garbage, snake oil? Is she being raided and everything stolen? No, she's not.
It's a nutrient. See, so that's the loophole there. It's whether it's being peddled for AIDS or cancer or anything else. It's a nutrient when it boils down.
No.
The point I'm making, Dr. Carpenter, is we are dealing here with a known liar. A liar who has attacked me for supporting you, a liar who has been attacking you for years, a liar upon whose false testimony you ended up losing everything you have. We are dealing with a liar named Michelle Wolvin, and she needs to be held accountable. So even if she does not end up accountable under some kind of legal system, I can guarantee you she will end up accountable by me, and I will continue to expose what this horrific woman is doing, and I have to believe that in the end she'll be held accountable by God Almighty.
Well, I'm sure she will be, but is that going to help our case? I doubt it, because that will happen later. But one question I have for you is this, okay? Now, the FDA, with Jeremy Bain leading the raid, got permission from the court, got a warrant from a court to come and raid our place. And he did it under false pretense. He lied in the affidavit.
Exactly. It was a sting operation.
Okay, but
false appointment, a phony appointment, pretending to be a patient, and then when you made the appointment and you opened the door, there he was with his accomplices, his criminal accomplices, and that is false.
And he had 2 policemen there because they were ready to arrest me, but of course they didn't find anything that was in the warrant.
Because there's nothing there. There was nothing to be found.
Right, and my question is, because there was nothing to arrest me with, there was nothing, and all of their statements were false, so they had to leave. Yes, they left with everything I had, but they couldn't arrest me, and it was all false, based on lies. How come the judge is not going after them for lying in the affidavit?
Perjury. That should be perjury.
It is perjury, and it's persecutable.
Because, I mean, even there's plenty of sting operations that happen, say, a drug sting. They set up a fake drug deal. Okay, we know that's a lie, all right? But in the affidavit that they produce to do this sting, they're listing the suspicioned activities in there that aren't lies. They're saying we have reason to believe that they're selling cocaine or crack or whatever, out of this residence, and that's not a lie, even though they, set up the appointment based on a lie. But in your case, even the affidavit was all lies.
Right, and how come since they couldn't find anything to support that, we are doing an investigation of raid. That's not the request they had. They were requesting the permission, requesting a warrant for this accusation, and none of those pan out. They didn't find anything that was supporting that.
It's called probable cause powers, and they had no probable cause.
Absolutely not.
Process of law. They need probable cause. They had nothing.
We got another break. Yeah.
Well, that laser beam has been confiscated.
Right. So you cannot hit anybody with it because Jeremy Bain went there too. Jeremy Bain is just a patsy. He's paid to violate the law, and he does it.
He's just following orders.
Absolutely.
Just following orders.
Just like the SS. Yep.
Yes, and he has no feeling. Like one of my patients pointed out to him, what's going to happen to you when some family member needs help? And then you're stuck with what you have supported, the system that you have supported. And that's what they want you to do, not have any choice, no freedom. in anything
Well,
because
the issue is always about freedom, Dr. Carpenter.
Yeah.
The issue is about liberty.
Romney, 2012. You're going to get what you deserve, people. Sorry.
But it's about, it's the whole issue. My only issue has ever been, no matter what has ever happened to me, no matter how horrible what they've done, or to other people that I love and my friends and colleagues, the issue comes down to individual liberty and God-given rights. And they are violating your rights, Dr. Carpenter.
They are.
You have the right to do what you have been doing. You have offered a solution to people who had no hope. Yeah. It's a matter of, I've said it before, it's a matter of genius that you've come up with something that actually solves a problem. And of course, they're there swooping in like a bunch of harpies to just shut you down.
Well, there you go. When you said people that had no hope, right there you go with the very first catchphrase of the troll attacks. False hope. We first saw it on Lori Fulbright's news report, and it got repeated on down the line.
I said false hope. Yeah.
False hope.
But you know what? The truth is the medical conspiracy and big pharma and the oncologists. They are the merchants of false hope.
Absolutely.
And they've been the merchants of false hope throughout since the beginning, since Jump Street, when they came into being. They are the merchants of false hope. And a person who offers true hope has to be squelched.
And mine is not hope, it's a solution. End of the story is a solution. No maintenance, not false hope, obviously, and no maintenance either. It is the solution. That's it.
But you know what? If somebody knows the truth, for instance, if I knew somebody, that I had, that person had cancer, I would be able to tell them, this person, there is hope, okay? There is hope. There's a solution, and here it is. And I encourage you to look into it and go there, okay? So it is a matter of hope, because hope starts something. In other words, now I have hope. Before there was no hope, okay? But you are not a merchant of false hope. You could create a hope that leads to a solution, and there's all the difference in the world.
I know, but right now they're trying to leave me without hope.
Of course.
See, that's the... And let me tell you, sometimes humanity is really weird, because I know of patients that had come to me. I treated them. They were fine. They went home. They had neighbors suffering through standard treatment. They wouldn't say a word to them.
I don't understand that.
I don't either. How can you live with yourself? Oh, because a fear of the reaction has spread the word, and I don't know, okay? And they weren't saying a word, and then seeing these people suffer and not saying anything.
I don't understand that, Dr. Carpenter, because for me, if I see something that is a truth, then I believe it is my duty to offer that to somebody, especially if I see suffering. If I see any kind of suffering or injustice, I would go and I would at least say, here's what I know, here's a solution, here's something. All I can say is I can offer this and you can look into it, but at least I've done my duty, right?
I know. It is part of humanity. I think that is a human obligation to help others.
But
like you see somebody, if you see a woman being raped in the street, there's been cases where people are like looking through the blinds, seeing this woman being raped or even murdered in the end. And do you think anybody would step forward and call the police or go out into the street and put a stop to it? No.
Yeah. I don't understand that at all. Okay?
I don't understand it either, Dr. Carpenter, because in every situation in my entire life, where I have seen a crime being committed or an injustice of any kind, if I was there, I was in the middle of it immediately to put a stop to it or die trying. I could not let something like this happen. So if you see a child running out into a railroad tracks, are you going to pull him back, grab his collar and pull him back and save the child?
They might do it to children, not to adults.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if any person, any decent person sees a crime being committed and does nothing, just does nothing to stop it, that is just wrongful. And I believe they will be held accountable.
And that's what I need. But you know what? If you think about it, remember the old Western movies when there was the showdown and people...
Yeah, like high noon, right? High noon.
They hide, and they get behind a wall and hide. Though.
They could have very well wiped out, based on the number, wiped out the threat with no problem. It's based on the number. Instead, what did they do? They hide and let the person stand on his own, alone, without defense of any kind, and help them.
Cowardice, Dr. Carpenter.
And it was happening. It's in the American tradition, apparently, the human tradition anyway, that was happening, and nobody did anything. And then the person, if he survived, he was a hero, but he did it on his own without any help.
Exactly.
Except
in
high noon.
I believe in heroism. Heroism is when you believe that you can be your own hero. You don't wait for some Superman to come out with a cape. You yourself are a hero.
Do it. Yeah, you do it yourself. And
we all have to do that.
You know, so many people nowadays, and I don't know, it may be just because I'm getting older and I see it, it may be something that's been in existence for a long time. I don't know, but I see around me, I see so many people, their faith in God has become integrated with their faith in country, flag, and power structure that runs the country. So basically, the power structure is God. The flag is God.
What does that got to do with high noon?
Well, nothing, but what it has to do with, though, is, you know, you can go back to Romans 13. All power comes from God. And if these people are in power, then God, it must be part of God's plan. You know, so it's really...
Of course, that's a false interpretation, because you know what? I can quote Miss Payne, and I can say, it is the duty of every patriot to protect his country from its government.
Exactly.
Because if you are a true patriot, you love this country, and you are not going to let the government run roughshod over the people of this country. We the people.
We the people have to fight back. And that's what I've been saying that for 3 and almost 4 years. I've been saying, they're not going to do it for you. You fight back in the medical, in everything that is wrong. We have the number on our side. Fight back. Why do you think they spend all this money and effort to trying to numb you down? Because they're afraid of the number.
Because we outnumber them.
Right. They're afraid of that. There is power in number. So come on, guys, let's use it. And that's what I am saying. Don't buckle down and accept because you don't want to fight, because you're afraid, because that's the way it is. No, that's not the way it is. If it's going on and continue, we are allowing to continue it. But if we, the people, oppose it and start all rising in unison, that will come to an end. And that's what I'm saying. Do it. Let's do it. We do not want that kind of control. And we are not going to stand for it. As simple as that. But it has to be everybody rising and doing that. The people in government are not that many. And they're cowards anyway. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it the way they are doing it. And we have to be the ones, and it cannot be one hero. We have to be all together.
Well, that's right. There has to be solidarity, and it's like we have to support and defend each other. Okay, and that's the problem. That there's egos involved and agenda politics.
Divide and conquer. Don't forget divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, but
bribe him with money.
There's only one real issue, and I keep coming back to it, and that's the God-given rights of the individual. That's what's important. And if everybody would unite for that one purpose and put aside the secondary disagreements, they wouldn't be able to get away with this.
They wouldn't, yes.
And there's music. We're hitting the end.
Yeah, we are hitting the end of the show, the second hour. Thank you, Barbara, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
With Dr. Carpenter.
And helping us and helping spread the word. Okay.
Hope we're not falling on deaf ears.